Welcome to episode 6 of Two Men and a Cactus. I'm Mitch, and and he's Gav. And I'm Mitch.
I'll just sit here, you just do it.
My bad. Right then. And you're Gav.
I am, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Mitch and he's Gav. Sure.
See you later. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, go.
Welcome to episode 6 of Two Men and a Cactus. I'm Mitch.
And I'm Gav.
And today we wanted to kind of touch on budgeting and managing income because, you know, going from a 9 to 5 where it pretty much is just all done and at the end of the month it's just plopped in your bank account.
Plopped.
Yeah, plopped. Whereas obviously it is completely different when it comes to freelancing. You're kind of managing all your income, all your tax, everything along those lines. And that's pretty much what we wanted to touch today, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a luxury having someone deal with that.
Isn't it
and
just?
you not have to think about, I need to put some money away for tax.
Yeah.
It's just not something you think of when you first get into it.
For me, I remember it always being like, right, last Friday every month or the 28th of the month, it being I'd like naturally wake up about midnight, 1 o'clock, and I'd check my bank. Oh, there we go. There's the money, and I can say, well, a couple of grand's popped in, and it's there, it's waiting. But now it's not like that because you know you get all these jobs in, and you have an expectation when it's going to come in, but it might not come in.
Oh, yeah.
You know what it's like, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to budget as well when you can have a job in and you go, oh, right, that's going to be at the beginning of the month. Mm-hmm. I'm getting X amount on that. That's going to help towards covering my bills and you feel safe. And then all of a sudden that client goes, oh, yeah, we're going to have to postpone. We're going to have to move the date. And then they move the date a week later and you think, no, it's no worries. It's going to be the same month, right? It'll come in the same month. And then it maybe gets moved again. Or you do the job and they take a little while to come back with revisions for you to sign that job off and send the final invoice. And then they promise it on a certain date. And you think, oh, that's fine. I'll be in before my bills come out. And then it doesn't. And then your bills are coming out. You've not got the money in the bank that you think you're going to have. And then all of a sudden it's panic stations because, you know, we're both family men. We've got people to look after.
Yeah.
And that is a big, scary part. And, you know, building up a buffer like, you know, you did before you went full time is a massive part of it. And I'll be honest, I'm pretty crap at buffers. I'm like me and Mitch said, like, we give some of this advice and we're not perfect, but we essentially know that this is what you need to be doing. You need to be creating a buffer so when you have those moments where the invoices don't come in, that you've got that cushion for, you know, paying your bills. I think, you know, a lot of people recommend three months of expenses in the household, in the bank. Just having that cushion for when it doesn't happen, because it is so unpredictable. But it can sometimes go the other way, right? Where you think you've not got any work coming in and you've not got that cushion, and then all of a sudden there's a flurry of work. So for me, it's about getting in that habit of when you've got a good month to go, okay, these are my expensive. These are my expenses.
Very expensive.
These are my expenses. This is what I need to survive, and anything extra to that you put in away for those moments when the clients aren't paying.
Yeah, I can really connect with that because majority of my work as like a 50-50 wedding videographer and commercial and events videographer, I have a lot of my money coming in during just the summer months.
Yeah.
And I'm not necessarily much quieter during the winter months, but, you know, there's nowhere near as much weddings. And I have to find a way of budgeting during that time because it does become the financially leaner months for me. However, I have a little bit of a gear addiction. Yeah. I just, as soon as like I love a nice little DJI email drop in. Oh, here comes the new drone. What's this going to be? And I'm just absolutely horrendous for it. And it's something that I've really had to tackle, especially, to be honest with you, I've always been like that with you, haven't I? Like, as in like, oh, have you seen this new thing?
Yeah.
And up until I went full time, it was something that you very leaned on me hard, saying, do you need that?
Yeah.
You know, find that, use that money, put it aside
to go full time.
To go full time. It was always something that you really pushed on to me. And Um,
You don't listen.
Well, I was just about to say, I appreciate your persistence because I think I have got better at it.
Yeah, I think
I've definitely got better
definitely
at
as you were
it.
leading into full time, you got better with that. And you're starting, and also some of the other lads that we chat to were taking on board a motto, that motto that I got from my clients,
Yeah,
Andy and
you can say,
Lloyd at White Box. So shout to the boys. If you're watching, you better be. And they've got this on their wall and in the offices, and it was it's not their quote, but it's by a guy who he travelled the channel in sort of like some marathon yachting expedition, and he said that he based all his decisions on will it make the boat go faster. And that's something that's always stuck with me, is like, if I buy this new drone, will it make the boat being the business, go faster? Will it progress? Most of the time it won't. Early days, a lot of your expenditures will make the boat go faster, going from that starter camera to the bigger camera, buying the nicer lights and all that. But yeah, I think it's important to just know, will it progress the business? Is it a want or is it a need?
And yeah, that's it. Another thing I had to consider was dealing with tax because like
Tax.
when your money comes in at the end of each month, like you say, that's tax is all dealt with. You don't. It's not.
Oh, you mean
nothing
when
to
you're
wo-
employed, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, when you're employed,
Yeah.
when you're in your 9 to 5 or whatever, you're employed by someone, it comes in, the money you get is the money you've got to spend, haven't you?
Yeah.
But as a freelancer, yeah, it's everything you've got to deal with, haven't you? You've got to deal with all the tax side of it. My way of dealing with it was when I get a payment come in from a client, from a job, is that I've got I've got a savings account like a lot of people do, but I've got a specific one that is linked for business savings. So I make sure I put an amount, an amount as what I feel I can take away from that money coming in.
To interrupt, there is like a better way of doing it, because there's a lot of these internet banks now.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned, you
So
mentioned them
basically,
before, yeah.
Starling is one where it doesn't set up a separate account like you do. You're literally splitting it into two accounts. So you can set up a business account on, like, it's just an app on your phone. Whereas, like there's all these Monzo and there's Revolut and things like that. Well, Starling has this thing called Spaces. So when the money comes in, you can set an amount for it to split off into another space. So it's essentially one account, but it separates like a set amount each payment that comes in, and then literally you're essentially then saving for your tax separately, and you can transfer that. Sorry, you can transfer that back into the other account, but it's just a good way of splitting it off rather than go, oh, I need to manually do it.
Yeah.
And that's definitely been like really valuable for me.
Well, like there's that many steps that we have to do. We have to consider with absolutely everything. And if there's something that can automate it, it's another step that takes away that you don't have to consider, because you've got to consider tax in the first place, let alone trying to split it or however you want to look at it. So I think that's a really good option.
Yeah. I will say as well that one thing you should be doing, or everyone should be doing, is having a bank account that is literally just for all your transactions. And it doesn't need to be a business account. In the beginning, it wasn't for me, but once you have a business account where you're invoicing in, money's coming in, and then any expenditures for the latest DJI drone or the latest Sony camera, then it's all on that one avenue, that one platform as such.
Yeah, it's good because then you can kind of see the money come in, and that's all business related, and then obviously your section that becomes your personal money.
The software I use for that is Xero. So Xero is accounting software, but I send my own invoices out with that, and it's linked to the bank feed. So essentially, when an invoice goes out and the money comes in, it reconciles with my bank. So for my accountant, then he becomes an account manager. So I give him access, so he can then see what I've spent. You reconcile everything. So you're spending money on a camera, you could just say, yeah, that's video equipment, or this may be just dinner out with the family, so it's non-business related. So just a way of keeping track of all your expenditures, business and personal, within Xero, that's linked to your bank account, that your accountant can then obviously link to, makes it way easier for your tax returns as well. It's such a game-changing software for me.
And one tip I'm going to give just off the top of my head is, when you come to deal with the software, deal with it as you're doing it.
Yeah.
Because I've had some issues where I've kind of just, it's come through, and then I've had to spend like half a day or something going through
Oh,
it.
you mean
and,
reconciling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, do that or do that. Or
It's like, you
do
have
that.
40 items to reconcile.
And
You're
you're
like, I'll do that tomorrow.
And you kind
And
of,
then it's
what was that one? What was that payment for? And then you spend 10 minutes looking at this one payment. You're just kind of like, so yeah, another tip for you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Just keep on top of it.
Keep
And
on
it'll
top of it.
just save so much effort, so much time. It'll save like any kind of worry at the end of the year. Just do it as you're going through.
Yeah.
Make it part of your workflow, like your
once a
weekly
week.
workflow.
Yeah,
Exactly.
once a week. But
That's
I
it.
definitely don't do that.
I'm horrendous with that.
I'm like, you have 150 items to reconcile. You're like, oh God, I better do this.
Yeah, when it comes down to like mileage and travel and that website that we
Yes.
use and stuff like that.
So that's another one actually. And I don't think you was aware of this. I don't know how you did it before.
Yeah,
but I think it's my account that got me onto it, and it's called Trip Catcher, and essentially that is a third-party software which links to Zero, so it actually links to my account
I
software.
remember you saying, yeah.
So you literally put in so you're going to Manchester. You go, right, I've got a job in Manchester. You put the address. You put return journey. It calculates a figure, which is your mileage and wear and tear. The 45 pence per mile, and then over the year, it creates a spreadsheet that then links to Zero, and it comes off obviously your top line. So that's an amazing bit of kit.
Yeah, that links into so many things that you aren't aware of that you then have to take into consideration for your tax and everything.
I know, like I think it was probably the accountant's like, are you tracking your mileage? I was like, well, I'd maybe charge a bit for petrol, but. And he's like, no, you need to be doing this. And you're like, oh my God, I didn't know. And my average year, it's knocking $5,000 off my top line because of all the miles I do.
Exactly.
So it's all these little things that you just don't know when you're getting into it. So, hopefully that was a gem. So I think that about wraps it up for this episode. But obviously, as always, we'd love to hear from you guys. If there's any tips, tricks, or just general advice that you've got about managing money, finances, budgeting. I know it's quite boring, but it's really important stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so if there's anything you can share, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. And we'll see you next week.